I'm just admiring that Jeffrey's concept shuttle. It's so neat. It's so. How many times did I say it's so like nothing I've ever seen before in Star Trek before? So it's almost an alien, a non-Starfleet ship, just the way it's shaped. It's like when I look at that, like that doesn't register as a Starfleet ship. It doesn't register. It's something completely different. It's like, Speaking of strange curves on a Starfleet ship, it's actually coincidental that I got, I might as well just pull it out. It's actually coincidental that I got this at the same time. This had been sitting in a queue it had been sitting in the shopping cart for like weeks or however long it was before I purchased it because I was like, oh yeah, do I want to get this or do I not want to get this? And I closed the window one time and it was just sitting there waiting for me for however long it's been. So that's how I ended up with this. That's not saying that I regret getting this or I'm like, oh, why'd I get that? But it's like, oh yeah, that's why I put that there. So, but anyways, this next one is actually the main reason why I ended up with the shuttle, and I was supposed to unbox that one real quick, move on, and then move on to this, but that's not the way it turned out. So this is the Special Collector's Edition, XL Edition, USS Enterprise Echo from the Next Generation movies. Now, I must confess I'm not entirely certain how this release is different from a regular XL edition because there's three editions in the Starship Collectors line. There's the regular edition, which is what I've just shown you, which is about 3 to 4 inches long. That's average. That's normal. And then you have the special editions, which are about 8.5 inches long. And then you've got the XL editions, which range anywhere from 8.5 inches to 10.5 inches. So this is the biggest one. But here's the weird thing. Just the box alone is far more elaborately decorated than anything else I have seen from the XL editions that I've gotten. I've gotten what a dozen or so XL editions at this point, and this is just so completely different. I'm not entirely certain exactly what. Look at that. There's the Akira prize just hiding in the corner there. You're not supposed to pay attention to it. I'm not entirely certain what the difference is, so I'm taking a bit of a risk on this collector's edition. I should also point out that at first blush, there is no magazine included. There was with the Jeffries concept, but there isn't with this. So I'm not entirely certain what makes this a special edition because in the mailing or the shipping information, whatever it is, it does not list a magazine. So I'm curious to know why it is that a ship that appeared prominently in 3 Star Trek movies doesn't have a magazine. I don't know what the deal with that is. My guess is that there's one inside here, but it's a lot smaller than the 8.5 and 11 that I just showed you. So, also the way that this box opens is different as well. Usually you just pull open the top, and there's only one picture, so I don't know. I don't know what the deal is with this one. Or is it a magazine? Or is a? Oh, it's a magnet. It's held in place with a magnet. Oh, okay. Let's look together. Let's see. Which way do I want to go? I want to go this way. So my head will be covered up by pictures. Oh, there's the magazine. Okay. Yeah, I was wondering if maybe it was like a smaller one because like the Enterprise Echo only appears in 3 movies, and or the Sovereign-class only appears in 3 movies. So I guess it kind of makes sense that they don't have enough content to justify making a larger one. But on the other hand, this is a collector's edition, so I was expecting more concept pictures and whatever it is. So okay, good to know. Okay, so they've got one of these. All right. So yeah, this folds open. This model is part of a collection of die-cast replicas of Star Trek ships. How much is that getting cut off? That's getting very cut off. Oh god, I forgot to set the camera properly. Oh god. Excuse me a moment. Yeah, I did that without thinking. I just hit record and I didn't even tell it which folder to go to or what properties. Okay, so yeah. So now I've got a larger resolution and I'm still going to get my head and this cut off automatically. I don't know why, so sorry about that. Okay, where was I? Let's see. This model is part of a collection of die-cast replicas of starships, Star Trek starships. Each model is based on extensive research and, wherever possible, the original CG models used to create effects for the TV shows and movies. Okay. So this may or may, if that's the case, this may or may not be different from the other XL edition Enterprise Echo. It may be different in that regard. I'm not certain. I didn't plan on getting one. Ooh, she's nice and big. That's what he said. Whatever. And do they have? No, I no, they do not. What is this huge frickin' box? The ship doesn't take up that much space. Oh my god, this is heavy. Holy shit. The nacelles are all die cast. Or no, I'm sorry, the nacelles are plastic. The pylons are die cast. The saucer is heavy. And the engineering hull. The bottom of the engineering hull is plastic. The bottom center of the saucer is plastic. Okay. So it's just the saucer and the top of the engineering hull. Whoa, this is heavy. This is a big girl. This is a big girl right here. Ladies and gentlemen, one of John Eves' greatest accomplishments ever. The next evolution of Enterprise. And we have not seen one since. Although I suppose Doug Drexler gets credit for that when he created the Enterprise J for that like 5 second cameo in that season 3. Yeah, season 3 episode. So, anyways, ooh, she's a leggy babe too. That was one of the things they wanted to do because like they got rid of the Enterprise Delta at the end of Star Trek Generations. May she rest in peace. Pieces, pieces. Um, but they had to come up with a new one because the problem with the Enterprise Delta is that she was really wide and actually kind of short, like proportionately. So they had to make a correction for that, and I'm honestly surprised that nacelles are. Oh wow, that actually moves. Whoa, hang on now. That's a lot. That's really loose. Ooh, that's not at all as sturdy as I thought it would be. The dish is copper. It's painted copper. Ew. I would have expected it to be yellow. Okay, it's weird. So, anyways, turn it the other way, Ava. Come on, what's wrong with you? Yeah, she's very front heavy. A lot of die cast in the front. Of course, you got a giant old. Oh, yeah, I was talking about. So, anyways, they needed to design an Enterprise that would fit well on a 16 by 9, movie screen or whatever it is. Or is it anthropomorphic or anthropomorphic? I don't remember. There is a difference. Just I don't know the difference. So, anyways, they needed an Enterprise that would be really wide on the screen, really narrow, so that when she goes past, it'd be long, and she could dwindle on screen for a longer period of time. You know, so it needed to be really really long and really really narrow. The other thing they did, well, yeah, all right. The other thing they did is because this is the next evolution of Enterprise, or all things Enterprise. One thing they did, wow, that's redundant, and I didn't even think of that. The other thing they did, really redundant. What the crap, Eves? What are you thinking? One other thing that they did, I do not like the way those nacelles are creaking every time or the pylons are creaking every time I push on them. That's not cool. I don't like the way they molded that. Mm-mm. I don't like the way they molded that at all. There's not a lot of stability there, so be very careful when you handle this. Do not hang on to the nacelles at all. You can hang on to the engineering hull or hang on to the saucer or the primary hull, but do not even touch that. Just do not. Do not, do not, do not. Anyways, the other thing that Eves did is he got rid of the neck, which was a staple of all things Enterprises up to that point, because he watched when he was watching what's it called, Star Trek II: The Wrath of Khan. He was thinking to himself, and I'm paraphrasing here, he was thinking to himself, if the Reliant had just hit a little harder along the neck, they could have completely severed it. And if this Enterprise is designed to fight the frickin' Borg, then you need to eliminate as many weaknesses from it as you possibly can. And so one of the first things he did was get rid of the neck. That's one of the first things he did. So yeah, that's how that ended up happening. And the rest of it is just kind of eh. I wonder how Jeffries would have felt if he'd seen this. I was talking earlier about, when I was unboxing that concept shuttle. I was like, I wonder how Jeffries would have felt if he literally thought that the Constitution refit in Star Trek: The Motion Picture was boring and was too flashy and flash without context or something like that. I wonder what he would think of the Enterprise Echo or the Sovereign-class. I wonder if we would think of that like, huh? Something else I need to bring up, which, yeah, okay, there's something else I need to bring up, which I was not certain about, and which now I'm kind of regretting, buyer's remorse a little bit. One of the things um, about the Enterprise Echo, or just Enterprise E. I've trained myself to say Echo. Sorry. One of the things about the Enterprise Echo is that there's actually a design flaw that was corrected between Star Trek Insurrection and its last appearance in Star Trek Nemesis. There's actually a mistake that was made. Um, any starship or shuttle or starbase or what have you is built to order in terms of why is that there? Why does this thing have a ooh? Oh, never mind. Wait, right? Ooh, that's a painting error. Bleh. Hmm. Yeah, that's a significant paint. Well, not significant if you like know what the detail is, but anyways, there's right where the um what's it called what's it called the captain's yacht. The captain's yacht is located on the underside of the saucer, which is traditional, by the way. There's supposed to be a gray. I don't know how well you're going to see. You're not going to see it at all. There's a gray paint stripe that's supposed to go around it, but they accidentally misapplied it, so it actually goes and it accidentally goes up and around and then comes back. So they goofed up that paint application. Er. I'm honestly surprised that the bottom of the saucer and the bottom of the engineering hull and the nacelles were not molded in a single piece. I'm really surprised they weren't, because that would have helped immensely with the again the nacelles are creaking so easily. This is like holy shit. I don't want to touch this. What was I talking about before I got completely distracted by that? I was talking about that. Oh yeah, the differences. Um, every single starship and shuttlecraft and costumes and sets are made to order. They're designed to suit just that one episode or that one movie or whatever it is, and then that's it. They usually don't think about it. In the case of an Enterprise, in particular, usually you design it to be flexible. So it's like you deliberately do not describe everything that happens on the interior. So you deliberately leave things unexplained so that in a later movie or in a later episode you can add on and just pretend that it was always there to begin with. If you have the budget to make a new room and have that room stay there for a long period of time, then you can say, "Oh yeah, it was there from the start. You hadn't seen it before now." That's the excuse you can make. Um, in the case of the Enterprise E, a small mistake was made, and it's actually a victim of. Oh yeah, I brought this up before. When did I bring this up? There was a point where I brought up, was it the Excelsior, or when did I bring this up? I don't remember. I'll just say one of my earlier videos. And that's a paint error right there. That's a paint error. Whoa. Okay, Eagle Moss. Those very very fine transparencies, the grills here, they completely forgot to paint in some hull gray on there. They forgot they didn't do that correctly. That's significant. Hmm. Yeah, I thought that looked too pretty. Yeah, that's a detail they messed up. They simply didn't paint it. They should have painted it, but they didn't. Hmm. Anyways, when they were designing, when John Eves, was that right? John Eves? Yeah, I think it was Eves. Yeah, John Eves. I called it. When John Eves was designing the Enterprise E, uh, the script called for the Enterprise to be facing its enemy, which is the Borg, to be facing its enemy for most of the time, and that a number of attacks would be coming from both the front and from below. That's what the script for Star Trek First Contact called for. And so when they were designing the Enterprise E, one of the things they did is they make absolutely certain you've got good weapons on the front, make certain you've got good weapons on the bottom side, make certain that those things are visible. Hmm. Okay. Make certain that those things are visible. Well, the problem is that when you get to the next movie, which is Star Trek Insurrection, that the Enterprise Echo appears in, it turns out there's a bit of a design flaw. They were so focused on putting good weaponry onto the front and the kind of the ventral both the front and the ventral side, they kind of neglected to give it any weapons on the back of the ship. So when you look at this version, which now that I see it, like, okay, all right, now I know, you're going to find that there's no torpedo launchers and there's no phaser strips anywhere on here. I'm fairly confident. Yes, that's correct. So the only weapons you're going to see on here is a single phaser strip that wraps around the top. So there's a phaser strip there. There's a strip here, and then there's another one around here, and then there's a torpedo launcher here, and then there's a phaser strip right there, and there, and there, and then there's two smaller strips. Were those painted? Yeah, they were painted. There's two smaller strips just above, phaser strips, just above my fingers there, and that's it. Those are the only weapons. It's all on the front of the ship. Anything past this strip right here, anything past this little gray line right here, anything past that, there are no weapons on the back of the ship. None whatsoever. There's no phaser strips and there's no torpedo launchers. None. So, but on the other hand, if you're watching Star Trek First Contact, you're not going to notice that because again, it doesn't get attacked from behind. It doesn't get attacked from below. It doesn't get attacked from above. It's only from the front. So, and then if you watch Star Trek Insurrection, that is when they realized, ooh, we need to kind of sneak. There actually is a moment when in Insurrection where the Enterprise is being chased, and she has to fire some torpedoes to attack enemies behind her. They totally just they just popped up out of nowhere. There was nowhere on the CG model where there's a torpedo launcher phasers. They had to fake where those weapons were coming from or where those shots are coming from. It wasn't until Star Trek Nemesis where they finally added some extra torpedoes. They actually added what was it? One, two, I think like three torpedo launchers to just the back that could shoot backwards. They added a second torpedo launcher that could. No, I'm sorry. They added two torpedo launchers to the front, and they added three torpedo launchers to the back in different locations. And then they also added some additional phaser strips here and here and here and here and here and all over. So, what concerned me is that this would be the Enterprise Echo that's based off of Star Trek First Contact, when what I wanted to get, and this is my mistake, is that this is the version from First Contact, not the updated version from Star Trek Nemesis. So, well, I did say at the start that this was going to be. I was taking a risk. I didn't know. So, live and learn, I guess. Does that mean I'm going to end up getting another one? I don't know. It's kind of difficult to say. I'm wondering why this box is so big. find out what else is in here. I'm curious. Other than the display stand, obviously. Oh, I just put together the display stand. But what I want to do is I want to find out what's on the underside of this because it's a lot of foam unnecessarily. Because like considering how thin the Enterprise Echo is, I want to know what's on the underside here. Nothing. There's nothing in here. Why is this box? Really? Oh, it's not molded as a single piece. It's a cutout. But again, why is it so thick? I mean, I know collectors like these kind of thick, whatever it is. If it was just strictly for this, that's disappointing. They would have had room in here if they. Okay, so that's why it's so thick. It's thick so that you can turn the display base on its side when it's in storage. I guess I don't collect collector stuff often enough to be able to appreciate that. Seems kind of excessive. Excessive. Okay. So yeah. Anyways, this is not the Nemesis version. This is the Insurrection and First Contact version, which I had hoped it had been the Nemesis version, but that is really redundant to have. Well, right behind the arrowhead. Traditionally, it says USS Enterprise, United Federation of Planets. It's usually what you see, and then it's along the inner side of the nacelle as well. Which okay, I can live with that. But then directly behind it, there's the larger version where it says USS Enterprise NCC 1701 Echo. Like, why? And then there's another arrowhead, as is traditional. There's another arrowhead right there, or the pennant. I think it's called the pennant, Starfleet pennant. Starship Enterprise United, or Starship USS Enterprise United Federation of Planets. Like, so you've got it once, twice, three times along the side. That seems a bit redundant. Curious. I mean, if you want to put the arrowhead on there, if you want to put the arrowhead and the pennant on there more than once, okay, whatever. But weird. Also, I was expecting that USS Enterprise to look the actual name of the ship to look different, or I'm sorry, the font of the ship to look different. Okay. Also, it's on the registry or the hull number. Registry number is only there, so they have it. They have it three times. One, two, three times on the side of the ship. It appears technically appears once, twice in the front of the ship, and then they don't have it here. But you're also supposed to see at the very back, as is tradition, you would see the name Enterprise just below the shuttle bay, or the secondary shuttle bay, because it turns out the Sovereign-class actually has two shuttle bays. There's the familiar one at the back right here, and then there's another one right here. This dark area right here, that big wide lip right there, that's the primary shuttle bay, and then there's a second shuttle bay right there. So. Mm. There is no Aztec pattern whatsoever on the pylons. Eves, what are you doing? And then for Eagle Moss, there's. Ooh, hey, that's not cool. That's not cool. I've actually seen this before on a different Enterprise, and I wasn't happy about it then either. Um, okay, first off, the Aztec pattern looks absolutely gorgeous on the engineering hall, or at least the front of the engineering hall. There's a couple of areas where it's just outright missing. Maybe they never added that detail? I'm not certain, but I'm concerned. There's a smudge on the Aztec pattern on the top of the hull too. I didn't notice till just now. There's a big old empty gap right here. Oh, I've got window misalignment here too. Hmm. Back windows there. Eagle Moss, why do you even bother making molds where the window is curved in if you're not going to line up those windows properly. But these are supposed to be hand painted, and they're very much not. Most of the windows on top of the saucer are misaligned. And that row of escape pods is misaligned. And then I have no idea what that is. Hmm. But yeah, the bottom of the nacelles has an Aztec pattern, right? Yeah, and it's fairly obvious where it is. But the top of the nacelles do not have an Aztec pattern, which they're supposed to. No, there's no Aztec pattern along the top of the nacelles. There's none along the top. Well, actually, there is on the bottom of the pylons. All right, all right. So yeah, it looks like they outright neglected to put an Aztec pattern along the top of the nacelles. That's frustrating. And that Aztec pattern is misaligned underneath the lip of the shuttle bay. Yeah, that's misaligned and it's smudged as a result. And the prominent the dark gray armored section, which I have no idea what these are for. I don't know if I've ever explained them. Well, I guess I'll find out when I read those. But the paint alignment for this wedge of dark gray and this wedge of dark gray, both of those are misaligned. They're misaligned. They're actually, yeah, I think it's hard to tell just because of the molding. The mold is fine. I'm not complaining about that, but it's like the alignment of the paint. You know what? Maybe that is normal. You know what? I won't. Okay, I take that back. These are okay. It's like I'll take a second look at it later on. Oh yeah. Anyways, I noticed a significant paint error, or not a paint error, but it's like it's sloppy. Like when they were applying it, they screwed up. Much like with the excuse me special edition 2009 Enterprise, also known as the Church Prize. The version that the XL edition. No, it's a special edition. I'm sorry. It's big like an XL, but it's technically it's a special edition. Turns out that the on the 2009 Church Prize that I've got, if you look at the sides of the pylons, there's a set of grills or vents along it. And Eagle Moss, in their infinite wisdom, decided to just paint a single stripe rather than painting each vent individually. The exact same thing happens here. So you see this black stripe here and this black stripe here. There are breaks, as there should be, which are molded in. I don't know how close I can get, but this is molded in. You can actually see where the vent is, kind of. So that's molded in, but the paint applications, the black stripes that they added are too long, so it covers over beyond where the vent is supposed to be, or whatever that feature is. I don't know what that is. So yeah, they screwed that up as well. It's not misalignment where it's too far one way or the other. It's just outright the stripes are too the amount of paint is too wide. They put too much paint on there, or where the paint is located, they put too much paint on there. They're too wide. So I'm kind of half tempted to return this and get the. Well, that's the thing. I don't know if Eagle Moss produced an XL version of the Enterprise Echo from Star Trek Nemesis. I don't know if they did or not. Ah, oh, so that's how they did the main shuttle bay. Because actually, the shuttle bay door is plastic that's left over from the top of the engineering hull. It's not die-cast metal. It's actually a little separate piece that sticks up through a window in the die-cast metal. That's funny. Wonder if the door itself is die-cast. I doubt it, just because it's so well painted. I don't think. Eh. Yeah, the Aztec pattern is really nice on the underside until you get to the underside of the nacelles, and then it becomes sparse. It's nowhere near as detailed. Maybe that's just the way Eves designed it. I'm not certain. Like he probably would have spent months working on this design, which makes sense because I mean, if you're going to introduce a new Enterprise for movies, yeah, it needs to be more detailed than the Galaxy class Enterprise Delta. So, but that being said, because the Aztec pattern is always a prominent part of Star Trek. So to see that it's so neglected, especially across the, well, no, I'm sorry, the top of the nacelles, that's Eagle Moss's fault, but the underside of the nacelles, that is a problem. Wait, wasn't it John Eves who designed the STD Enterprise? Yeah, he did. The reason I just thought of that is because looking at the underside, the impulse engines where those are located on the underside of the saucer, there's some raised surfaces or whatever it is. Greeblies is what they're called. It's just supposed to make it look neat, even if it doesn't have actual function. There's some greeblies on the underside of the Enterprise Echo's impulse engines, the impulse engine housings, and it made me think of some similar vents that are underneath the saucer section of the STD Enterprise, where there's some similar vents or whatever. So I'm like, oh, I wonder if he actually took the vents from one enterprise which he designed and then stuck it on another enterprise that he designed. Not that that would be a particularly recognizable thing, but I'm like, oh, it's the same guy who designed these things like 15 years apart or 20. Yeah, I guess it'd be 15 years apart from each other. Why shouldn't he do that? Oh boy, here comes the moment I'm dreading. Because when I had the Jeffrey's concept shuttle, there's like no friction whatsoever on the display stand, so I'm a little concerned. And that fits just fine. Oh, it actually snaps into place. Right? Yeah. It actually snaps over the two impulse engines. That's nice. Also, by the way, Eves got rid of the impulse engines in the middle of the um, what you call it, in the middle of the engineering hall doesn't have its own impulse engines. So it's like, this thing is just you, Eves. You designed this thing to separate. So where's the impulse engine for the engineering section or the battle section, I guess? I don't know. The whole thing is pretty much a giant battleship, anyways. Even though Starfleet doesn't make warships, yeah, this is a warship. Give me a break. It was literally designed to fight the Borg. I mean that's why they designed a big cruiser to fight the Borg. So yeah, that is a warship. It is not an exploration ship. 658 meters long, number of decks 24. Ah, yeah, right. There was a deck 29 in Star Trek Nemesis. And they talk about Star Trek First Contact. Oops, too far. Yeah. I remember when. Oh no, I hope they don't talk just about the movie. If they do, I might consider returning this because it's like there's some. I would rather get the Nemesis version, and if this is nothing but First Contact, then I want to see stuff about the Enterprise. Huh? They don't talk about the Enterprise herself. Wow. She looks totally different when she's not in board makeup. Yeah, so there's absolutely nothing about the Enterprise Echo in here. If anything, they've got this huge thing about the. It's not. It's focused primarily on just the writing of the story and how the story how the movie evolved, and then the back half talks about the Borg Queen. I didn't even read it. Um, for the most part, it looks nice. This isn't quite what I was anticipating. Like I said, I was taking a risk, and yeah, it's good to know about um, Star Trek First Contact, but like I would rather have a complete overview. talking about the concept of the Enterprise Echo, what they were thinking, and what was Eves thinking as he was designing this thing, and what were some of the troubles. I mean, the trivialities. I want to know about the trivialities. That's why I'm a Trekker, by the way. You're not a Trekker if you're not interested in the trivialities of Star Trek. Hello. But that said, yeah, these nacelles concern me. And it says, oh, it's screen accurate. Yeah, sure. There's a couple of things I noticed are not. Well, no, I take it back. This is screen accurate for first contact. So, yeah, okay. But why they don't have now here's the thing about the Enterprise Echo. Star Trek First Contact happened right in that transition phase between we're still using physical models and where they became fucking obsessed with CGI. It's right in there. So yes, they did build a CG model of the Enterprise Echo, and you see it maybe a handful of times in the movie. But for the most part, the Enterprise Echo is the very last Enterprise in name to have a physical model built. I think it was like 10 feet long or something like that, which is standard, whatever. Um, so that being said, I wonder if this is like a mishmash of both the what is that? I don't know. This is weird. A mishmash of both the physical and digital models. I'm not certain. I'm not going to say that this is a bad kit. It's just not what I was expecting. But yeah, I'm going to email Eagle Moss and see if they can get me another one, or if I can like do an exchange or something. Because I think these are both $75. But the other thing is like I think the reason why I got this is not because it was a special collector's edition. Which, by the way, I think other than this and the obviously elaborate packaging, I think that is the only difference between the regular XL edition and this edition. I think it's just the box and the instruction or the yeah, right, there are no instructions here. No, actually technically there are. I think the only difference is the box and the pamphlet, the little mini mag that came along with it. So I think like if you don't want the extra bonus content of this, I feel like Eagle Moss is kind of milking Trekkers, milking collectors, because like, oh yeah, it's a special collector's edition with some new stuff. Yeah, it's literally the same thing, as far as I can tell. But yeah, I mean, it's nice. It looks fine. Just like maybe this version. I mean, I'll have to do some research. Ava, you should have done research before you purchased it. What's wrong with you? I think like maybe this version is like updated. Like maybe because they Eagle Moss is known to produce new versions at the same scale. A good example of this is the Enterprise Alpha. They made an XL edition of that, but there were a lot of uh, design flaws with that. There were paint applications that were either in the wrong place or they were just outright incorrect. They were not screen consistent. There were mold details that were done incorrectly. So what they ended up doing is they made a second XL edition Enterprise Alpha, and then they proceeded to fuck up that version as well, which is the reason why I don't have one at this point. I mean, there's a number of things that are wrong with it, and maybe I shouldn't get into it here, but like maybe that is what happened here, where like something, whatever it is, went wrong with the previous with a hypothetical XL edition Enterprise Echo, and then this that I have in my hands is an updated version. I'm guessing. I'm not certain. I'll have to research. I'll actually put in captions. That's what I'll do. I'll put it in the little thing over there. How different this is from the other versions. So, um, yeah. So here's the collector's special XL regular version of the um, first contact version of the Enterprise Echo, or is it Epsilon? Maybe I'm saying it wrong. Maybe I'm supposed to try myself to Enterprise Epsilon. Maybe that's what I'm supposed to do. Except there's an Epsilon 9 from Star Trek: The Motion Picture. So that's going to get things. Gonna be... Well, Echo is the proper phonetic alphabet. So okay, I'm gonna email. I got lost. There's something there. There's enough things happening here that I'm getting suspicious. And yes, I should have checked better beforehand. My mistake. And so with that, no, one more time. One more time. And so with that, hold it properly so everyone can see it, Ava. This is Ava Unit 4A saying thank you very much for tuning in.